Open Class Doodles, episode 41. Welcome back to the COACHMC studio. This is the place where we'll help you actors, performers, entertainers really shape unique behavior deliveries, and where we'll help you creative minds, artists, and beautiful, volatile but still grounded souls that are passionate about their craft help you to really stand out in the audition room, no matter where the audition takes place, no matter what you're auditioning for. It's all about expressing your ideas and communicating your core artistic value proposition in the most remarkable way. So welcome to another Open Class Doodles, episode 41. Incredible tactical doodles for success. Everything you need to navigate the business, creativity, the acting craft, and many, many other things. This week, I have to admit, I've been kind of lazy a little bit, right? Because we were traveling all across the world and all over the place. And I was just not able to stream. Also, 3 Sages in a Time Machine, of course, will resume next week. But more to this, while we're jumping into today's topic is truly interesting, truly important for us. And without any further ado, I would love to kind of talk today about the consequences of Hollywood's slowdown and what we can do to position ourselves in a new market that is about to pop up right in front of our eyes. So let's see what's cooking. Yes, it's really happening right in front of our eyes. At times that probably we've never expected to actually to be part of reality. Now they're upon us. And this is so fascinating. Every time we talk about arts, ladies and gentlemen, welcome everybody in the chat. Every time we talk about creativity, every time we talk about this beautiful entertainment industry we're a part of in some way or the other, we always face this historical truth that, there are always oscillations. So what we're doing today, talking about the consequences of Hollywood's decline, how we got there, what that means for us as an industry, what the symptoms are, what the root is, and how we can position ourselves. It's always important, to always take a step back. Of course, this is a very interesting micro topic that is super contemporary and very, very, it's crucial. But if we step back, we always see that this is just a little part of a bigger oscillation, of a bigger wave, of a bigger, development. And so therefore, yes, it is important to keep, a finger on the pulse, understanding what the current market situation does and where art is going and understanding your industry. But it's also very important to see everything in a context and realize this is just part of a natural development. And so therefore, don't fall into any panic mode. This is not to just point the finger or accuse or, this is not time for inflammatory speeches. We have that on Saturday Night Hypnosis every Saturday on Hypnotic's YouTube channel. This is more the time to kind of, understand that it is, yes, natural. What caused it, though, makes us also understand where we want to go and what is probably also happening in the future. Because the great thing about art in the end is that the most important part of art, of creativity, is that you are creative, whether there are good times or bad times. If there are bad times, you have to be creative in order to get out of the bad times. Once you're in good times, you have to be creative in order to stay in the good times. So it's always about, kind of understanding the process and improving and kind of noticing history as it unfolds and understanding how you can, take the opportunity, take advantage of that. But it's more about controlling the narrative instead of getting controlled by the narrative, right? So I hope that was more or less cryptic enough for you guys. Hey, Robin. Hey, man. Hey, thank you for stopping by, Robin. There must be something happening with Instagram. Probably because you were, I don't know, man. I add you back. Thank you so much for the message. Don't worry. No, there is no bad. You are one of the OG followers. So definitely I get you back into the loop. Vincinger, Rosita, thank you so much. Soup Amigos, thank you so much for being here. Vincinger, how are you, AK? El Otaku, man, I've been seeing your drawings, man. Keep on doing these drawings. I like the fashion that you're doing, and just I feel like, yeah, add details, add more little things to it, right? Make it richer. Good stuff, though. Good stuff. Serena. Hi, Lorenzo. Welcome back with a new episode of Open Class Doodles. Welcome back. Yes, yes. So again, this is not, consequences of Hollywood, of Hollywood's slowdown, of Hollywood's contraction, how most of the people call it. Where is it coming from, and how is it impacting the market? Hey, no problem. I really thought you were bad. I said, no, absolutely not, man. It's sometimes, you know, my team and we clean out, sometimes the, followers in order to get, and sometimes we, it can happen that there is like a wrong, like if people don't know or something, right? There's absolutely no bad waters here or anything, man. I had you back. Don't worry. It must be a mistake or something. Or probably because we haven't been active for such a while. So definitely write me up. I want to hear what you're doing over there and what you're up to, man. It's good to have you on the chat for sure. Welcome everybody on the chat. Yeah, again, sorry also this week. It was crazy to make it very short because I missed you guys, but you know me, it's I'm a bit of a crazy YouTuber. I'm here. I feel like, yes, I am a YouTuber. I am live, but I have such an incredible and demanding real life where I have to work so much. I wish I could have been here more often. And I have certainly like a very, a very unique style of directing all these YouTube operations. Sorry for that. I'm a creative, spontaneous, eruptive person. Sometimes I can be very, very much active, and then I have to retract and retreat because the other creative and beautiful endeavors are waiting for me. So I'm trying to be here as much as I can. But definitely we're hitting episode number 41. Sorry for missing out on the Three Sages, but we have so much upcoming for Three Sages in a Time Machine. There's probably also a new podcast coming. We're talking about history with other YouTube channels, and it's just growing, guys. And also, of course, you can always be me on Saturday Night Hypnosis. So therefore, good to have you. And I'm always going to be here and definitely ramping up productions. Yes, there is Italy playing against Spain, Euro tournament, but this is somewhere in Europe today. We're here in the States, and we're talking about what's happening to Hollywood. I stumbled over this article that I found really, really interesting, and out of that, kind of the idea for today's show developed also because we covered the strike, Hollywood's strike. We've been to the picket lines. We shot interviews there. We're kind of we've been a couple of times to LA also to document the process of how business has changed since the so-called pandemic and everything that was related to it, because we really wanted to inform the creative community, like what are the currents, where is the market shifting. We're seeing this huge buildup here in the Southeast. Atlanta is growing so much. It's incredible. More and more intensive classes, more agencies, studio lots are being built. Production's definitely ramping up there. Louisiana, Southeast Florida as well, South Florida, Miami. So we've been documenting this shift and the latest strike news, and now it looks like they're coming into an agreement there. But also what we are also addressing on Saturday night is the fact that through this new content that's been coming out where artists have been replaced with activists, that is good and dandy as long as the quality of the product still has that high level. But unfortunately that hasn't been so, and so we're looking into what are the consequences of this new adaptation to this agenda that's been kind of unfolding with each and every show, and what the market reaction has been so far, and where is this probably heading to. So welcome to this, I think, very interesting episode, guys. So this is LA Entertainment talking about on their Instagram, LA Times, the entertainment section, unprecedented times. Let me just put this here so you can read this better. This is all live. Dun, 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 live. So LA Times Entertainment is talking about the contraction in the entertainment industry has created a difficult environment for talent agents and managers whose income depends whether the clients land jobs, right? That's, of course, you have not only the acting facility, right? The actors making money with the movies. There is a whole, like, there's actually, the actor is actually the rat tail to the huge rat, and this is no pun intended here, right? It's just the definition, right? It's, we are the last phase of a huge development of a huge organism that kind of, you know, shapes when you're creating a movie. And so the actor is actually almost like one of the last parts that gets attached to this whole production. And so therefore you have, of course, the industry that is the representation of that actor, getting that actor the roles, the advertisings, booking him shows, getting him better and better representatives, right? Your agency is making sure with all its collaborators, assistants, and all its social media partners, yeah, to kind of present you to the industry and to your, you know, potential commercial partners, and also to your fans in the best and most adequate way. So there is a whole double, triple industry behind every actor, especially when we're talking about those A-listers, right? But not only them. I mean, there is just a huge market usually behind actors, and these agents, of course, the more products, the more projects, the more auditions are taking place during the year, the more you have, the more jobs and more volume of work you have for all these secondary and tertiary and quaternary and all these other jobs that are attached to the acting endeavor, and they are complaining because Hollywood slowdown brings peril for these talent agencies and these managers. If work slows down, projects are getting fewer and fewer, more and more assistants have to go, more and more collaborators need to leave because there's just not so much work to do, right? So studios suspend many Hollywood productions during last summer's writers and actors strikes, and work in film and TV hasn't bounced back, right? There is not a movement happening against to what has been cutting down so far. Entertainment companies shed jobs, networks scaled back the numbers of new shows, talent reps were faced with more competition for fewer opportunities. And the threat of artificial intelligence has caused further anxieties for actors, creatives, and the people tasked with getting them work. So basically they're saying, and this is I think a very good litmus test to understand what the general biological environment is. If you have less and less talent representatives, agencies, collaborators, assistants working in the industry because the projects are just getting fewer and fewer opportunities, it doesn't make sense for them anymore to just solely focus on that. And so they start looking for other jobs or, other opportunities. It means that the body of work that created that kind of ramified workforce, that organism, that rooting system right into the Hollywood soil is deserting, is drying out, and so that tree is slowly dying. This is what we've been saying. Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say that luckily the entertainment industry is not depending on AI in the future as much as somewhere else. Or what's your opinion? Asks Robin Jansen. Well, you see what we're seeing here. I don't think that AI in the future is going to replace like what we call acting, the magic of really creating a beautiful moment, something that is unspoken and irrational. I mean, sure, you can create a lot of, steady stills and millions of little micro frames of every mimical expression of a face. But that expression, I mean, that it comes from an impulse that can't be replicated. And so therefore, for background reasons, for fasting the process, like speeding up productions, calculations, and definitely also fitting out scenes and making them less dangerous for the people and inserting them afterwards for the people that need to do it physically, right? So you can definitely take away a lot of problems with AI if you see it as a tough and very competitive collaborator instead of seeing it as an enemy. But in the end, I think the human expression, I said this many times to the channel, will always be unbeatable because it comes from a place that can't be broken down in binary codes. yeah, it wouldn't be as authentic. That's the point. And spontaneity, irrationality, that surprising momentum. I think this is also the reason why these big companies and the system in itself, and that's not some sort of a wild theory. You see this pretty much happening everywhere. If you have like a consolidated agenda, like forming entertainment for everyone all over the globe in the same way and trying it to shape according to your status and to your whatever you think the goal needs to be, then of course you're suppressing any other type of creative, output. And so therefore you try to press it in some standardized form, but that avoids, of course, that people can have like, spontaneous created like going and exploring. And we've seen this now in Hollywood happening for the last 25 years. And this is the result. The numbers are a total catastrophe. All these stocks are plummeting from these great companies, Netflix and Disney and Amazon. I mean, you name it, they're losing money by the minute. These productions are getting huge backlash by the fans. They are not accepted by their old audience, and there is no new audience that is actually buying into them. So it's really just an agenda product that just gets left out in the desert. Sure, many people were involved in it, but they didn't really create any legacy that can be followed. It means that these products were only there to destroy an old legacy, but didn't create a new one. And so you really create a vacuum of power. And we're seeing articles like this being written, which kind of, proves the point of what we were saying on this channel, and also on Hypnotics channel and all the other channels as well, where we're talking about the consequences. If you really if you put your whatever political beliefs first instead of creating motion pictures that leave a legacy. So instead of having artists, you have activists, then the art is just going to be mediocre. What does it mean? It means that that's a good sign. It means that people are still in search for that type of entertainment. And everybody who now is focusing on creating that, on making sure that his product is really, a great work of art in a way it's expressed, that you make sure that your craft is 100%, in tune with your body, that you know exactly what you're doing, that you are not kind of, putting some sort of agenda first, but you put the work and the discipline and the sacrifices first, you will see great results will come, and people are still waiting for that. And so therefore, the demand for great entertainment is actually higher than ever before. But since Hollywood decided to not provide great entertainment anymore, most of the time it's just searching and looking for, an adequate echo chamber to, an IP to kind of insert political ideas and all that. So that can only work till a certain point. When the returns are not there anymore, the industry will stop, rethink its way of programming itself, and then kind of readapt to new ways in order to really generate revenue. And this is the power that we ultimately have. We are fans, this incredible lost species of, delusional fatalists and dreamers who really stick to something that they truly believe in and give money to it, as crazy as, and even forgive you many, many times if you don't land, big hits all the time. Because guess what? Fans are actually able to have constructive criticism. They do realize that these productions are tough to make, and we know, guys. I mean, information is available from the palm of our hands. We know how tough it is and, damn hard it is to create a great and compelling movie. So it's not about these. Of course, you can make mistakes. Of course, you can fail once in a while. But if your failure is programmed, and then you don't accept the criticism anymore, and this is the only thing that you output now, this is the only thing that you generate, of course, you create a destructive environment. And this is pretty much what we're facing right now. Nobody wants to deal with these shows anymore. The networks attack the fans for not watching the shows that are bad. And so therefore you have a circular argument, right? The one blames the other blames the creator. And so therefore, where's the solution? I think Atreus kind of, touched upon this. Saturday Night is like, yeah, but we need to kind of get out of this cycle, right? We can't just blame and they can't just blame us back. And I think the one solution is to not see it as a polarized system, them or us, and understand it as us, just us. It's human beings. And in the end, we all have the same desires, wishes, and we all have the same longings. And a good product will always be a good product. Focus on your quality. Don't focus on complaining. We're just kind of putting out there what can be improved. It's not about to say, yeah, again, I play the game of blaming you, and this is why I have the justification of being here. No, that's not the point. It's proving that you can do it better. This is how you hold up the mirror. It's not just by blame, because that would be their technique. That would be their strategy, right? To say, hey, you are bad because of this and this reason. So therefore, if I just destroy you, then I'm good, even if I'm not presenting anything new. So my only recipe here is to destroy you. And therefore that will give the justification to me to be here in the first place. This is not how we want to address this. This is not how we're going to break the cycle. This is not how we're going to change anything in culture, by having, the blaming finger pointing at each other, right? And Trace is right about that. Yeah, Vinsinger is saying, yep, let's not forget about the consequences of the bad route Hollywood is taking, for sure. And he continues and goes on by saying, yep, and let's not forget about the existence of entertainment outside of Hollywood. So I hope more people start giving them more chances and attention. I think this is what it's about, because now we have the opportunity to see more and more people all at the same time, evaluate their quality, kind of give a very good, quick, professional assessment, and in a matter of less time than before, and say, hey, I want to run with this. So you don't need, in a way, these big productions, these big ships anymore like we used to, because they were giving work to the industry. Now the industry is everywhere, and work is pretty much everywhere at the same time as well. And we, let's study this article a little bit more, because here I think we can get some interesting ideas and impulses for a good conversation. So as production in the US slows down, some agents and managers say they have sought work for their clients and financing for their projects in international markets. However, the budget tends to be smaller. So this is something that I want to touch upon, because you see this as work in Hollywood has slowed down this year on US series and movies. Talent reps are adapting by taking on consulting jobs and marketing their clients overseas. Now, the creation of the COACHMC studio goes back to the fact that 11 years ago, we started helping actors in Rome with their English pronunciation to get jobs, right? To shoot self-tapes for the more and more Hollywood productions that would actually take place in Italy, and getting financed those productions that were hugely expensive. Italian government provided with a tax credit. That means, of course, you have some sort of tax write-offs if you hire local talents and people that are from the place. And there was a huge need, like a huge volume of people, looking to improve their English, speaking abilities and their pronunciation and all that, and being able also to act, because more and more self-tapes were being shot. And this is how we were actually, how we started. And the fascinating fact is that from the Italian market, we got into the United States market, and now a lot of people that are here from the United States market, they are now shooting in overseas in Europe, prominently in Spain and Great Britain, and also in Sweden, but also in Italy. And so it's interesting how this market current in the last 10, 11, 12 years has kind of inverted its route. So that means that we have more and more jobs for American actors that could open up overseas, which is a great opportunity, guys, to open up your mind, to shoot in amazing places like, Czech Republic is beautiful studio lots, by the way, but beautiful town of Prague, and Italy for sure, Cinecittà, Rome, the Eternal City, so many great places, Costa Amalfitana, Naples, and France, Paris. you have great places in Europe to shoot. You have different people you can work with. You can expand your networking connections. And there is just another way, of course, getting credits and making money that is also fascinating, gives you completely new insights to your craft. So the market is shifting overseas. The market is going out of Hollywood into the southeast of the United States. And as we started as an acting and performance agency, we started 11 years ago, our job, and we can say how the market also has changed and witnessed this, firsthand, because initially we just shot self-tapes. Most of the times it was just, of course, self-tape productions, right? People were coming in, shooting. We sometimes shot 2-3 self-tapes a day out of our small apartment, right? And now we see how the market has actually shrinked in terms of agencies asking for self-tapes. The same clients that we still have, since we started, the number of self-tapes have dramatically decreased over time. We can witness this firsthand. There are less and less jobs, less and less self-tape requests, but also more and more opportunities of establishing yourself as bilingual, or just as an actor who travels also into other countries and having more job opportunities, because less self-tapes coming from Hollywood means also that probably there are more and more European, local, regional productions going on that not necessarily go through the orthodox industrial kind of system. So it's been definitely also compensation going on, and that means new markets are being created. Are they as big as Hollywood once was? Of course not, but there's definitely more demand coming for this. And also, if you guys, out there, filmmakers think, hey, why just staying in the US all the time? Why not, shooting projects, co-productions, going overseas, opening up maybe other HQs and having more and more, through the international productions, also tax credits to shoot my movie somewhere else instead of fossilizing on one market, diversifying a little bit, collaborating with international filmmakers. And we as the COACHMC studio, if you come over to the Telegram channel that we have, if you come over to Miami 305, but also for the future, digitally, we want to provide you with more and more information. We're already connecting through our talks and acting with networks like Actors Home and the such, like people that are running networks that are creating those like internal infrastructures inside of entertainment industry. So definitely also watch our talks, follow us on Telegram, take the news in that we're pushing out. And if you're from the local Miami area, just come by. Let's, we go to monologue classes. We are at the 48-hour film competition as well. We're hitting different events and festivals all over the place in order to keep the community growing, to understanding where everything is going. So there is a way definitely to create also work for yourself. You don't have to be dependent from a studio system. There is so much opportunity there. Does that mean that is unproblematic and everything will? No, of course, there are solutions that you have to bring to the table. We as an agency, as I said, we started more with self-tapes, and now we're more into personal coaching and business development and marketing, as well as actors, of course. And that came just naturally with the involvement of our clients and with the agency that we're running. And the same thing will happen to you. Don't think that, necessarily just because you started with acting, that will be the only place you're going to be. But also at the same time, don't lose your focus too quickly. Stay with something, stick to it, overcome certain difficulties first, understand it thoroughly, and then decide whether or not it's something that works for you. Don't throw everything away just too quickly, because I feel by that you just wasted time. Wait for the lesson, and then you still can decide whether you want to stick to it and want to adapt to it even more, or if you just want to use it as a future skill, but going into a different direction, going into a new industry, or kind of into another creative outlet. Nowadays, everything can be marketed. Yes, that's true, Robin. France is my dream place to work in the industry. I'm learning the language. Yeah, France is a great market, great opportunities, great festivals. Well, what is difficult? Get a plane, get a train, get there, get to an agency, start working. Get a room, get a flatmate, shop some groceries, go to bed, stay consistent with your diet, work out and work for your agency, get the jobs, make money, start working more and more, audition for movies, and then get in. This is how you do it. Just figure it out. But of course it's difficult. If it would be easy, where there is no outcome, there's no reward in easy. LA talent agent Robin Letiker Johnson remembers when she and her colleagues at A3 Artist Agency were able to source upward of 20 to 30 job opportunities a week in the summer of 2022 for showrunners on unscripted projects. But that dropped to less than 10 a week last summer as studios cut back on shows. Yep. The executives seemed to be a bit more cautious about what they were championing and pitching up, and there were also significant budget cuts. So that essentially results in fewer shows getting greenlit, which means fewer opportunities for showrunners, and it just goes down the line. If I can't staff my showrunners, I'm not making money. This is, of course, the natural consequence. It has been a very unprecedented time where there has been overall slowness with the demand for content and production, said David Newman of talent management and production firm Newmation. Buyers are commissioning far less. They're buying less. There is such a wave of insecurity across all areas of the industry. Newman said revenue at his company is down 50% from 2022. If he had to come up with a movie title based on the current situation, he said he already has a title in mind. My fingers are slipping. Yeah. We see that this is definitely a result of many. This is not just one theme, right, that is dictating the slowdown. We saw the sea crisis, we saw the strike, we saw the implementation of AI, we saw the new, Teamster strike on the horizon, the potential strike. We saw the insecurities with the woke agenda that brought many shows to an end. It kind of pumped up budget, but it didn't really result in big revenue streams. Star Wars initially very successful. People couldn't wait for the new movies, and then it flattened more and more. And The Acolyte now is just the latest example of how things are going. Yeah, that's nice. As for me, I would like to do storyboards and design art for indie movies, video games, TV shows, animations, whatever. That's the same thing. Who are these new industry makers? Where are these new people that are creating these products? How can we find them? How can we connect? How we can, make this process of transitions as smooth and as less rocky as possible, and establish ourselves as future players in the industry? These are the questions we should ask ourselves, because we see that the industry itself has lost its compass a little bit. Its navigation, and its revenue, its power, its traction, its steam, pretty much everything. And people are asking, if you start tomorrow, if Disney, all these companies start producing great content again, because why is it unprecedented? Because nobody's going to the movie theater anymore. And why is that? Why is nobody going to the movie theater anymore? Why is nobody enjoying movies anymore? Why aren't we asking this question? Because it would be, of course, very painful to kind of admit that, they brought this upon themselves. We had good shows, we had great movies, we had everything. We had great canon, we had great IPs. Just explore them authentically. Just put artists into the right place and let them do their work. Create structure around artists, make the best, out of the source material, hire great and capable writers, put everything into place so that they can focus hardcore and give them all the right reason to live. And you will see, you will have amazing products coming out of the studios. Now, what could be, or let's look at another article just really quick, because I think it's important to kind of understand the full scope of this. And by the way, so this is April 24th, 2024. So Hollywood contraction hit star TV packages. It's a head scratcher. That's strange. And by the way, of course, rest in peace, Donald Sutherland. We're one of the greats, one of the all-time greats. Probably gonna do a star portrait about him because he's one of my favorite actors and a magnificent, really interpreter of so many incredible characters. But it is what it is. It's life, right? We're here to observe it. So let's observe this. After the end of strikes, agents, managers, and producers quickly moved into assemble high-profile packages. Let's put this a little bit better. All right. To take out what was expected to be a frothy marketplace following 6 months of inactivity, right? There was this huge strike. We covered it on the channel. Writers and actors, right? It was about many things, about the implementation of AI. We covered it also with White's Metal on the channel. We talked about the contract and everything that would be the build-ins and how the compensation model will change in the future. And we covered that, and everybody was expecting, not really expecting, but there was, of course, this hope that after such a huge strike and what everybody sold as a huge victory, the contract that was sealed, and we said this on the channel, we don't see this contract as being such a great help for actors. There is actually, we're talking more about the implementation of AI in that contract than the actual rights. I mean, sure, some of the repays for actors that were established, but if you look at the inflation rate, we talk, just check out the video, right? And you have a compensation plan that is just half of what the percentage of the real inflation is, then you don't actually give them more money, right? It's just stuff that you pay in taxes anyways. So where is the big compensation for the actor? And so therefore, we were really skeptic on this channel as well as on Saturday Hypnosis. I said this many times. I don't know if this contract will really create that expected wave of jobs, or if that's really, we saw it actually more as a threat to the acting craft. But the big media outlets were of course screaming that this is historical and beautiful, and it was about time, and such a brave and beautiful contract. Now this will help all the industry, but this article kind of proves the point of what we're saying. April 24th, that while there have been a few bidding wars and big sales with a couple of others pending, the level of demand has not been what many anticipated. No, say the biggest casualty of the tight market packages with A-list stars attached, right? So usually you have packages, big agencies, they have big A-listers, they put them into packages, say, okay, we give you X, Y, and Z for a couple of years to run a couple of movies. This is what you pay us, you have to give them the money that we demand. And so these A-listers are, kind of wrapped up in these contracts, and so therefore, of course, there is already money to come, to be expected to come in, and that finances also other projects. If you have less and less A-listers that are attached to these bundle, deals, then you have less and less other potential deals that could be, whether that's on the advertising area, on the reverse bank of the commercial side, or of the actual, kind of development of the creative material. So you have, again, a whole subsidiary industry that has been affected heavily by actors not being included in many bundle deals and huge packages anymore like they used to. this been had such a head scratcher. This reminds me of the NASA articles. Every time NASA kind of flies out into space, oh, this is a head scratcher. Oh, this is a surprise. Oh, this is something completely unexpected. For 60 years now, they're writing like one of the highest paid agencies in the world ever in the history of humankind. Every time they publish an article, oh, that's such a surprise. They seem to, and I can predict anything, right? But hey, it's not a head scratcher, guys. Of course, this was all too predictable. We've been saying this on the channel for a while. If you have content that's been just catered to a minority, but they cost triple or double the money than the usual content was actually costing, that was making way more revenue and, you know, hitting way more people and being way more impactful in its range of the distribution, then you have a problem, because you don't seem to have a market for what you are producing that costs even more than the old stuff that was hitting a way bigger market. So you're doing the complete opposite of what, you know, these companies actually, you know, what the actual mission of capitalism is here, right? So it's nice that you want to, you know, maybe experiment some other financial models in your company, but you're doing this by annihilating annihilating a big fat part of your fan base, and, you know, putting your reputation also at risk, and at the same time making less money. It's not a sound way of running an industry. Yeah. Vinzinger says that's true, because, you know, referring to, you know, the soft structures in the industry and all these other smaller productions and way more personal and corporate, like, than personal brands and movie making outlets, right? That they are connected, they're going to the festivals, they're producing smaller content packages. And since I got following channels and podcasts that are connected and in contact with these indie creatives like Film Thread, Latino Slant, and Regenta Podcast, yes, and more will pop up. Yeah, going to the theater is beautiful. It is a vibe in itself. It's something magical, and you should be able to enjoy it and not be scared that somebody's trying to, you know, to teach you something or to preach at you or kind of tell you that you're a bad person. So it's not a head scratcher. They know exactly why this is happening, you know. Agencies here are keeping record of all the star packages that went out and failed to draw interest over the past few months because the projects are weak, right? If you offer packages that have no content, that are weak, that are making bad numbers and costing them their reputation, get bad critics, you know, and in the end, these companies, they're also very much concerned about their reputation, about their name. And if they draw more and more negative fan backlash to their name or to projects or to other, investments that they are associated with, then, they, at a certain point, they will cut ties with these companies. Despite the level of talent that has included Oscar and Emmy winners and nominees in front or behind the camera, stars of blockbuster movies and iconic TV series, and in a couple of instances, famous IP, the total now exceeds 20. That means that that means that I have to read it again to really understand. It says, they are not interested in these packages that are getting offered. Even though there are A-listers, Emmy winners, and Oscar nominees and Oscar winners attached to it, in front and behind the camera. Why do you think that is? Because they know that even if you have great actors, if they have to play a certain agenda that is not creative and not entertaining, then even the best actor, won't create that return. We call it the whiff list. The dry spell may be rooted, at least partially, in the current state of the streaming TV evolution. It was the rise of streamers that brought along the proliferation of star-driven packages. Netflix announced itself in the original series arena, launched itself announced itself in the original series arena in 2011 by outbidding HBO for House of Cards, headlined by the then top draw Kevin Spacey, with a 2-season order. Other streamers similarly went after splashy start-driven packages as they were establishing themselves, including Apple TV Plus with The Morning Show, starring Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. Amazon with Homecoming, headlined by Julia Roberts, both of which has also commanded 2-season orders. The streaming arms race has largely subsided as media and tech companies have shifted their priority from building scale to profitability, not willing to overspend on talent and projects. Money is so tight everywhere. These are huge investments, massive packages, and a lot of them are not necessarily the best return on investment, one agent said. Noting that streamers have not seen upsticks in subscribers based on those expensive originals. Most game-changing series which have driven up subscribers from platforms like Stranger Things, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and Reacher have not been star vehicles but star makers. With budgets cut across the board amid economic headwinds, there is fear executives are scared to spend that kind of money, another rep said. They don't want to be the first on to jump in and spend if they don't need to. According to the rep, probably factoring in the newfound resistance is the massive success of a lower-cost acquisition like Suits, which thoroughly outperformed star-driven series that cost $100 million plus per season, which has made streamers even more reluctant to spend big on packages. There's a little bit more rationality in the market. Yes, one buyer said. Packages used to come through, and it used to be Netflix will buy it, or now it's Apple will buy it. But we're seeing these things go out, they don't get any buyers, which is unusual. That hasn't happened in a while. And again, that's also a good sign, because that means that it doesn't necessarily need to be a great actor. Maybe the product is making the great actor. Maybe it's just about having the right story, or having a great cast and a great ensemble, because sometimes if you spend a lot on the star actor, you have to kind of save money on the ensemble and the other co-stars, and that can result sometimes in a disbalance in the creative output. That means also that there will always be a demand for unknown actors. That, some narratives that they say, yeah, the market has completely closed itself from any competitors, and therefore it's saturated and you can't get really in, because all these A-listers are, once you are A-lister, you kind of stay there and make sure that, you have your 10-year cycle. And during that cycle, it is impossible to get new talent in. That's not true. There's always new ways to get in. There's always a project where they want an unknown face, because in the end, that means you cost less. They have probably also less problems with dealing with you, right? They're probably gonna expect you to be way more in line and way less spoiled already by the system. So therefore, being a newbie to the game doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have any chance to book even great projects. Quite the opposite, right? I'm sorry for my slightly fucked up voice, guys. It was a beautiful wedding that I had the pleasure to attend. My wife Alessandra, her sister, they got married in a beautiful location, couple of days, and I was, of course, the entertainer for the whole crowd, and we had many people attending during the wedding. There were like 155, 160 people. Also, the party the night before was pretty tough, and so therefore my voice suffered from all this. I hope I can recuperate soon. Okay, so bundle packages for A-listers are getting less and less bought up by the big streaming services. That's another sign of the contraction. We have less and less projects on that. If you look at House of Cards, for example, Boardwalk Empire, The Sopranos. If you look at the old series, what was so great about them? First of all, they were written by great artists, people who had really just the best intent to write a compelling story. Everything starts with that. Then you had great actors attached to them, and they had time. time more in terms of developing through an arc of many episodes. If you have miniseries of 8 episodes, which is, I don't know what you want to achieve with that, because it feels like a stretched out movie, and it kind of tastes sometimes like a stretched out movie, right? Like plastic. If you book a series, by all means, shoot a series. Give actors also the time to amalgamate with each other, to marinate, to kind of exchange, to get the groove, the rhythm right, to kind of pick up from each other, to list, allow them to listen to each other. That's so important for us actors, is really to, not even looking at the colleague and understanding his rhythm, getting a sense, a perception of, what certain intonations, where they are usually going to, and kind of anticipating physically what he's saying. All this stuff, it happens over time. If you have like an eight episode series, that is more like a stretched out movie. It's actually more difficult to develop anything, because you have something in between, and you don't really pay attention to it. This is usually how our human brain works. So give them a bigger mission, involve them in the project, shoot more and more episodes, give them time to amalgamate, to kind of find to each other. And you will see, the more time goes by, and, of course, if the writing department stays consistent, then you develop a great product. Great products, they are happening over time. They need time to really kind of, drive all the gears into each other and perfectly harmoniously drive this clockwork forward to see it, unfolding. It can happen in 6 episodes. Shoot a movie then. Shoot a movie instead. And that was, I think, what was so interesting about the Netflix proposition. And I remember Quentin Tarantino saying this, Netflix, all these streaming services, and he got booed out from Hollywood, from a huge part of Hollywood back then, for criticizing streaming services that would eventually kill movie theaters. And everybody said, oh, he's against the development, he's so old school, he doesn't understand, you can shoot far better products on Netflix. He said, it's not true. A movie is still a magical thing. And everybody was kind of giving him the checkbox, but eventually he proved himself right? Because in the end, of course, he knows his chickens. He knows exactly that these studios just in the beginning will lure you in with great products, and then they will cut down on costs, on story, on development, and just look at profitability, attach themselves to, trends, to political agendas, to happenings and events, instead of being their own event and their own right. And so therefore looking out for more and more commercial partners means also you have to censor down and water down and tone down your content, and you get homogenized, homogenized. Please tell me the word once you found it, dear brain. No? Okay. You get, of course, conform. Right, you start kind of putting down your spikes and your oscillation, and then you become formless mass. This is the usual oscillation of things. This is what we're always seeing, guys. In the beginning, there is the biggest output, and then it kind of flattens out. And we've been witnessing this now also with Netflix and all the others. They're cutting down on costs, they're reducing production time, they're squashing in more and more minutes in order to be more profitable, but they're not looking at the quality anymore. But this was absolutely predictable. This is always how they act. Every fashion works like this. Every fashion company works like this. Like in the beginning, the quality that you get out of a fashion company is usually top notch. Then they have a high plateau where they develop some new garments. They really try to build it in, and then they just profitable. They just run the IP. They sell their prints and their royalties, and they don't care about the quality anymore. And then by the end, it's just stuff that hangs somewhere in a mall. It's not special or exclusive anymore. Here we have an article from Reuters, the international information agency. That's from February. It's it's a slightly older article, but there's also this video.
Is Hollywood shrinking?
That asked this question, if Hollywood is shrinking. And interesting enough, February 6th, when stars returned to the red carpet in early January, After two bruising strikes to celebrate the success of Oppenheimer and Succession, one existential threat above all was on everyone's mind. Hollywood is shrinking. The era of peak TV is over, said 17 entertainment business executives, agents, and bankers who spoke with Reuters. From fewer original series and movies to greater scrutiny of budgets and a further squeeze on movie theater profits, people who call the shots said that television and film industries are adjusting to sober economic realities. Less money, less projects, shrinking developments. Analyst TD Cowen estimated broadcast and cable television advertising will end 2023 down 7% from the prior year, with total advertising declines of 11.7%. Disney, according to LSEG. Warner Brothers Discovery reported a 13% decline in advertising for the first 9 months of 2023. Along with print and radio, traditional TV has been hollowed out by digital advertising. The outlook for 2024 is not much better. TD Cowen forecast that broadcast and cable TV and revenue would fall another 7%. Even though the media companies are expanding their digital and businesses, the sinking traditional TV business still accounts for 80% of their total advertising revenue, according to TD Cowen. So even here, we're seeing shrinking opportunities, less projects, less advertising, which is always an alarming signal, right? You have less interest from the commercial side, and you have also less blockbusters to, attach your marketing to that are profitable, that run, and that have a positive outlook. And so therefore a positive, press outlook. So therefore it is for them attractive to invest or to create events or products around them, even on a later scale of, even if movies are coming out and you kind of missed the initial wave, if it still runs for a time, if it's a huge blockbuster, you can later jump on the ship. If it has sometimes, other brands, they wait for the media feedback, they wait for what the results will be in order to attach themselves to certain IPs. If it's positive, if the development is good, of course, later on, there still would be potential interest to get access to that IP, co-finance it, or get revenue from it. But if it isn't, and from the beginning, there's more contraction than actually expansion, they kind of, they rather save on the money or develop other projects or attach themselves to other IPs or other, entertainment, products. And so therefore that hits movie industry as well. More streaming services are charging more while delivering less new content, feeding skepticism over their long-term strategy. Absolutely. We've been seeing this and discussing this also on Saturday Night Hypnosis. They're doing less and they want more money. They make it harder for us to get access to the content. You have to, in the end, it's less gratifying as a production interface, as a service interface, and it's also less satisfying, from the content level, from the entertaining level. The overall number of scripted series is expected to shrink dramatically from the pinnacle of 633 shows released in 2022. The combination of the Hollywood strikes and constrained spending dented production last year, with just 481 US series released in 2023, according to data from market research firm Ampere Analysis. Even market-leading Netflix slashed the number of scripted series it released by more than 1/3 from 2022 to 2023, Ampere said. The profitable streaming service, which reported record subscriber gains in its fourth quarter, declined to comment. Executives, this is another problem. These people never really comment. They never really interact with the media. They don't have a conversation with the culture. When it's about, saying something positive, they're the first to advertise that. Whenever numbers are contracting or subscriber counts are shrinking, or there are problems, attached to their, they always refuse to comment, or they give out some, some very monothematic, statements that don't allow any access to a conversation, because that is what I feel the industry has also lacked tremendously. It is completely cut off itself from the discourse. It has been completely, bunkered in their palaces. It's, collecting feedback just from the people that they're hiring and employing. And so therefore that will always be one-sided in terms of the criticism, or just with a few who are really courageous enough to kind of speak up. And out of that, you won't have that necessary creative friction in order to really, understand what's good for the movie, instead of just driving down your agenda and kind of, streamlining the process according to your political needs, and giving out production notes all the way down every day in order to control the creative process of the director and his crew. It's just sad, because it makes it impossible to develop something, right? And there are just a few directors who are able to, have access to enough freedom that can still develop their own ideas. One of them being Christopher Nolan with Oppenheimer. And even Oppenheimer, I mean, it's a very slow movie. It sort of tries not to hurt and hurts a little bit. But yeah, I mean, fascinating the way it was shot. But hey, come on. We can do better than this, right? I mean, this could be one of many blockbusters, coming through summer. But, back in the days in the 90s, this was a normal movie. Oppenheimer would have been just a normal, great, normal movie throughout the year that just pops up, gets his couple of 15 minutes of fame, and then kind of disappears again, maybe a couple of awards, but not, as celebrated as we see it now. It feels like, the few hits that the people continuously talk about, Barbie, Super Mario, Oppenheimer, because there are just a few that really kind of impacted the global market, because the great hits are missing. The big blockbusters are missing. The big A-listers are missing. The mystery is missing. The secrecy is missing. The magic is missing. Yeah, here we have Reuters, kind of addressing this. The New World Order. Interesting. The industry is slowing down, executives said. Development executives are taking longer to greenlight shows, even for projects from established showrunners like Ronald D. Moore, whose credits include For All Mankind and Outlander. Production budgets are contracting, including at the streaming service Apple TV Plus, whose cash-flush corporate parent, Apple, boasts a market capitalization of $3 trillion. Both examples are reported here for the first time. Yeah. And I think we're seeing this on the other front as well. If you're looking at the new iPhone presentation, what Tim Cook said, the new Apple presentation was kind of shocking. It feels like even Apple is running out of ideas a little bit. It's like the iPhone has, I think, come to a point where, yeah, it's a new camera and a couple of new features, but there is nothing groundbreaking about it anymore. It's nothing revolutionary. The products are getting more and more refined, but they're definitely, Apple is running out of ideas, and also the way they are presenting themselves is very contracted and very, somehow it's not as sharp and cool and also as smart as it used to be with Steve Jobs. Shows that fail to grab an audience are being canceled quicker, as with Disney Plus series American Born Chinese, an adaptation of a groundbreaking graphic novel featuring two Oscar winners, Michelle Yeoh and Ke Huy Quan. One senior television agent called it the New World Order, with shorter reasons and fewer episodes per season. Aha, interesting. Fox is looking to slash spending on one prestige drama to $4.5 million per episode from $10 million. At Disney, where CEO Bob Iger is fending off activist shareholders, development executives are under deeper scrutiny. They're all a bit scared about what to do next, said one prominent talent manager. Right. He's fending off activist shareholders and development executives. So this is Reuters, mind you guys. And it's not superhero fatigue. The problem is that they are just not done well. It's having its own existential crisis. and they're talking about, they fell short of expectations. Movies like The Marvel, Shazam, and poorly received films. Yes, absolutely. These movies flopped, right? We're saying this, and we're seeing these movies being developed, but then also at the same time, the way that they've been, put out, it looks like the companies themselves, they're not stupid. They know these products are not gonna hit bullseye, right? And so therefore, they already started with damage repair even before the movie got, got published. And that is the example with many of those kind of woke infiltrated superhero movies. And that is already a red flag to the real fans for sure. So they're gonna stay away from the movie theater, and the ones that should be attracted by these movie titles can't really do anything with them, because they're pretty new to this genre and they don't understand why it is so important to be represented in the movies. I guess some of them will go and kind of be entertained in a stupid way, but of course they won't feel the passion the real fan is feeling that made these IPs big in the first place, like the real comic book fan, the real nerd and whatnot. So it's sort of the culture is turned upside down. Now it's been catered to an audience that is not really interested in the culture, and the old fan has been shaken out. But the one who's doing that now is, of course, complaining that the ones that have been shaken out of this, the vast majority of the fans, that stupid breed of delusional dreamers that, like it or not, once they fall in love with something, call it romantic or what you will, they sort of stay with it, right? And so therefore, if you would have just continued to kind of give them what they want and just do great entertainment, just kind of produce that, we wouldn't have this discussion right now. So you're really the creator of your own problem, the own demise, I would say. In the end, I know some actors might think, well, that's all bad news, coach. Why are you giving me all these bad news? Right? We see Hollywood is contracting, fewer productions. We see 10, and we're feeling this as an acting agency as well, right? Because like 5-6 years ago, pilot season was for us a really busy time as an acting agency, of course, right? It was from January to April, May, where we would have like a huge volume of self-tapes coming in, basically sometimes 2-3 self-tapes a day. Now we're seeing fewer and fewer of them, and this means also to kind of change our disposition and our navigation where we want to go as an agency, and because that's part of our revenue. If we have less and less projects, we have less self-tapes, there's less money coming into the agency, and it's a challenge for all of us. And there are so many industries that are attached to this. It's not just as coaches and actors. It's the one that are producing ring lights, backdrops, all sorts of studio facilities that are renting out their spaces, and of course, independent filmmakers that can help you with whatever production you have in mind at home. All this stuff, right? But we're still there. It means that we have to create the industry, that we have to shape it a little bit, that we have to take matters in our own hands in a good and positive ways, like really shooting more and more projects, get connected to indie filmmakers, go out there, network the hell out of every festival that there is, look out for grants, inform yourself. Does it mean that this is more work? Yes, for sure. It is, but in the end, it's what's necessary in order to stay ahead of the curve and in order to stay into the flow of this wave and not to drown and then complain and then say, oh, they're not shooting movies anymore. There is this huge universal conspiracy against me. Oh, I'm a poor actor, right? Everything is bad, and I have to go back to my dad's law firm or to being an accountant. It's not true. It just means that, yeah, maybe there's more work now involved, but also there is a beautiful chance there for you to step up your game, for you to learn new skills, for you to kind of meet new people, learn how to promote yourself a bit better, getting access to grants or getting access to people who are, in that game, and write screenplays, get them financed, all this stuff. I mean, what do you want? You want to be in this industry? You are the industry. There is no invisible, metaphysical, ectoplasmic door you have to go through and say, oh, now I'm in the industry. Just because you get booked for a web series, a short movie, a film, or a feature, it doesn't mean you're in or out the industry. You are the industry. You can create. You are the actor. You are the creative. You can shoot videos, post them online, tell about your journey, create vlogs on YouTube, kind of crowdfund YouTube movies, looking out for sponsors and sponsorships in your local area. There's so much stuff that you can do. Be the industry that you want to see, instead of, kind of waiting for the industry to kind of change their ways and kind of come back to you and say, and begging for mercy and come now back to the movie theater. I wouldn't do that anyway. I said that many times. I know I will never watch these movies again. They've hurt my feelings. Okay. No, but honestly, and seriously, I feel betrayed. As a fan, I really believed in these products, in these IPs, in these great iconic characters. I love to watch them and understand and getting inspiration from it. I'm telling you this is really interesting. On my flight back, back and forth to Italy for these 5 days, it was fascinating. On the flight back, if you would just, at a certain point, the whole plane is quiet. Everybody's just watching a movie, right? I read for most of my time, my way to Italy, I read Baudin's book, beautiful, Kitchen Confidential, beautiful book. But on my way back, I kind of watched a movie, and it was Top Gun. And the thing that I've noticed when I came back, I watched Top Gun also on my like half of Top Gun, before we landed in Italy, because I felt that was the only movie that was available, like the only movie I was really eager to see again. And then, that there is this moment in the plane where everybody's quiet, where it's dark, everybody's watching a movie at a certain point. And I was coming back from the toilet, and I think 80% of the people were watching Top Gun. Maybe a couple of people were watching Dune, but most of, but in the end, Dune 2, but in the end, it was Top Gun, it was The Godfather, and it was Dune. That was basically it. You could clearly see it. So younger folks, older folks, it doesn't matter. They were all, kind of driven by the real content, by the juicy stuff, by the cool movies, by the great stories, by the timeless photography, and by the iconic characters, nothing else. It's, that simple. So that means that we have to focus back on these values, not getting distracted by the agenda, and not also, investing too much time and energy in fighting something that is inevitable. This dynasty that Hollywood has been seen shining since the 70s, I feel, the 80s, the 90s were so successful. And also, the first Star Wars movie, I went into the theater. I didn't really care about like a female main character. I was just expecting a great movie, nothing else, right? To me, I was always okay with female leads in Star Wars. We had Leia, and also in other movies. So to me, I was just expecting a Star Wars movie, and I was like really eager to see it. I was completely heads over heels for Rogue One, which had another female protagonist, which I loved. I think Rogue One is still the best thing that kind of came out of this new Kathleen Kennedy cluster, right? It's still the best product, and the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. But then you just saw that this was the only narrative that they were writing. Female protagonist, better than everything else, better than everyone else. All the males are toxic, everything. And it's just repeating and repeating, killing off the old characters without any reason, and in sloppy ways. Some, things were just not. And this was kind of spread out to the other movies like Indiana Jones, to the other IPs as well. And it was just, you could see it. It was almost like a virus. And at a certain point, people, saw through this. With Marvel, we experienced the same thing. Amazon, Rings of Power, all this stuff, like Dragon Slayer commentaries, can sing a song about it that is very, very long. But you know what I mean, right? At a certain point, then people stopped watching that stuff because it didn't make any sense anymore. It was just about deconstructing the past. And if your only agenda is having an opponent and not creating something new, and then it's a pretty dry concept, right? It might work for a while, but then it dries out, right? If you have to prove for yourself that you can create actually something, right? Instead of just, kind of tearing down all the other buildings in town in order to be the last building standing and say, hey, I got the tallest building in town. Yeah, no shit. There are no other buildings in town. So therefore your last one stand, but you didn't build actually the tallest building. You just tore down, you just have tore down the others. That's a very destructive, negative, diabolical concept of creativity that we don't perceive over here at the COACHMC studio. Over here at the COACHMC studio, we have readytoperform.com. We really believe that we can get actors, get creatives, get athletes, even with their minds so much into shape to kind of build the craft toolbox that they need in order to succeed in all competitions on all levels and to really create something outstanding and remarkable. We really believe that over here at the COACHMC studio, and hey, slash the like button for that value proposition, by the way, that everyone has truly the possibility to be unique, that there is no need for you to blame others for a situation that was brought upon you that you believe shouldn't be there. All the situations that are there to teach us something, and therefore we can only learn and get better through them. Stop blaming, start acting, start creating, right? Use it. Every disadvantage, every negative aspect, every inconsistency, use it as a strong force. Don't get distracted by it. Don't get caught up in the loop. Really subscribe to this channel, subscribe to our endeavors, because we truly deliver experience here, guys, in a condensed way, experience that we've collected firsthand. And, the stuff that we have made for such an extended period of time kind of speaks for the quality, for the output that we were always able to provide, right, in order to kind of entertain our audiences. And that's why we're here. That's why we're still doing this and continue doing this and getting more and more traction also doing this, because there is this innate wish, this very strong passion inside of that burning desire to kind of create something for all of us, where everybody can have something out of it that will help each individual to develop something remarkable, something worth noticing, something worth talking about, something that is really outstanding. This is what we're all striving for in the end, like to make this travel worth. Right? I mean, we got just a couple of years on this planet. What is it that you want to be known for? Stand up and look at yourself and say, hey, what is it that kind of holds me back from reaching my best potential, my biggest, energy level? What is it truly? It's nothing else than my laziness, that my fear of what other people might think of me, that wrong perception that is, another opinion is more important than the one that I have about myself. All this stuff, it's always basic stuff. Go to sleep early, work on your physique, work on your mental physique, work on your craft. Explore it as much as you can, offer it to the people, make sure that people understand your message, your creative value proposition, and just repeat that over and over again. You will have success, period. For everything else, come to the COACHMC studio. And I think this is where I want to go with this, right? Yes, we have a Hollywood contraction. Yes, the numbers are bad. Yes, productions are getting cut down, and what I believe will happen in the future is that they will kind of contract to a very, in a way where it's inevitable that they will expand again. But this contraction will go on for a while. There will be definitely a huge market shift. It's already happening. We see that, pilot season it has become a completely different animal now. And we see more and more independent productions, more and more independent creators, more and more soft structure networks that are running independently all over the place, coming together, more and more content creators that are thinking about, their own brand instead of attaching themselves to brands. And I think this is just a process that will increase also with blockchain technology, with the new Web3, potential that is coming to us. We're talking about this also very often on Monday. Check out our last Monday episode where we're talking about the future of things. Today, Thursday is our current state of things, and on Tuesday we have our past state of things, where we have the three sages and a time machine always happening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for stopping by, guys. Next open class is Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch me on Saturday Night Hypnosis, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Saturday with the crazy crew. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you understand what kind of possibilities are here right in front of us. If you really seize this opportunity, there's just an incredible potential waiting for you. The market is shifting. You have the incredible opportunity now as a creator, as an artist, as someone who wants to be, a developer of his own ideas, to kind of create your own market, to explore your own boundaries of creativity, to not necessarily being a parasite to a system that has kind of finished its life cycle. I feel that it's coming to an end. Create your own life cycles, involve your friends, involve your best people. I think this is also a great way to look at it. I think it's the ultimate destruction of ego. I think we're seeing these narcissists, these being narcissistic companies, these huge ego temples coming down, and that is just a signal. And more genuine, content creators are coming up, because there is no ego involved in this new economy that is sort of circular, decentralized, and way more fluid and less monolithic, hierarchical, and authoritarian as the past structure. And that just means that we're all more collaborators. It doesn't mean that we're soft and that we are always, it just means that we have a very good, confident opinion about what we can bring to the table, and that we don't necessarily see ourselves threatened by someone else's quality as well, that we understand how to put it together in order to make an even bigger, better art piece, or make the clockwork even more shinier, I guess, more valuable and more beautiful to watch, right? Instead of being the small unit for yourself, be part of a great unit without losing your individuality, without bending the knee, without losing your artistic dignity. This is what we stand for, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is what we always should, strive for in the end. If you want more information like this, like I said, check us out on readytoperform.com. If you have an audition, if you have a self-tape, hey, if there is anyone out there who's still shooting self-tapes, right? No, by the way, we had a couple of self-tapes running in the house. We're always covering those on my Instagram channel, so make sure to check us out. Sometimes we have some very funny episodes. We just had I can't disclose his name. He's a bit more of a known Hollywood actor, and he couldn't access the building because we had, flash floods coming in. And in Miami, it is normal. We are used to it. We just kind of, get our knees wet really quick. We have towels waiting for you. This is just normal procedure here in the rain season. But, he didn't want to step out of his car. He missed out on a big chance of having a great self-tape experience with the COACHMC. So if you have self-tapes, definitely come over. If it's raining or not, it's always worth it. A great opportunity to kind of get your foot into the market as well, to as training, of course, your craft. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much again for showing up, and I catch you on the next one next Monday. And now, yes, you know it, I know it, we know it, you're ready to perform.